She said it casually, almost like she was announcing the weather. "I'm going on a trip with my ex," she said, not even looking at me as she scrolled through her phone. I froze for a second, the words hanging in the air like smoke from a burning candle. My mind raced, but my voice stayed calm. "Don't worry," I replied slowly, deliberately. "I won't be around." Her eyes flicked up at me, a sharp glance of surprise and perhaps irritation. "What do you mean?" she asked, a subtle edge in her tone. I let her stew in it for a moment, said nothing more. Silence sometimes speaks louder than words, and I had learned that in the hardest ways possible. My name is Daniel, and for the past 5 years, my life had been built around trust. Trust in my work, trust in my instincts, and most importantly, trust in Lauren, the woman who shared my apartment, my dinners, my late-night conversations, and my dreams. We had a life that seemed ordinary to the world, but to me, it was a carefully constructed sanctuary. Until this moment. Until the words that split my world in half arrived like a hurricane. Lauren had always been meticulous about her friends, her history, her past relationships. I had never questioned her, never doubted the stories she told me, the trips she took, the people she kept close. I believed in the woman I loved. I believed in us. That belief, as it turned out, was a fragile thing, easier to shatter than I had ever imagined. The ex in question wasn't someone I had met in passing. No, he had been a significant part of her life, someone she spoke about occasionally, with nostalgia that never failed to make me tighten my jaw in quiet discomfort. And now, she was going away with him. 5 days, she said. A vacation. Just them. And somehow, I was expected to remain indifferent, to smile and wave and trust that nothing would happen. I stared at the blank wall across from me, the hum of the refrigerator and the ticking of the clock filling the silence. My heart pounded, but my face betrayed nothing. In these moments, I realized something fundamental. She could tell me anything, announce anything, and it would no longer bend me. I would not beg, not plead, not follow. I would let the world reveal its layers, as it always does, and I would be ready. The next few days were a strange mix of routine and anticipation. Lauren moved through our apartment with her usual energy, humming to herself, leaving small traces of her presence, a stray magazine on the couch, a half-finished cup of coffee, a jacket draped over the chair. I kept my distance, observing, measuring, waiting. I had learned long ago that patience often reveals more than confrontation ever could. Her phone buzzed constantly, messages from him, laughing emojis, shared memories she repeated aloud when she thought I wasn't listening. I pretended not to notice, carrying on as if the world had not shifted beneath my feet. But I took mental notes. Every detail, every subtle smile, every lingering glance at her screen was catalogued in my mind. She thought I was being cold, distant, detached. She didn't realize that I was watching, silently, calculating, preparing for the moment the truth would finally surface. On the day of her departure, she kissed me quickly, a perfunctory peck on the lips, and said, "I'll text you when I land." I nodded, said nothing, letting my expression remain unreadable. I could feel the tension in her eyes, the hesitation, the unspoken question. Would I care if she left? But I had already answered that in my silence. The cab pulled up and she grabbed her bags, her phone glued to her hand. As she stepped outside, I stayed by the window, watching. A wave of emotion washed over me, disbelief, anger, something sharper, something colder. It wasn't love that made my chest tighten. It was the betrayal, the audacity of her casual announcement, the unspoken challenge in her tone. I thought about all the nights we had shared, the conversations, the plans, the promises whispered in the dark. And now it seemed they were insignificant. But I reminded myself, every action has consequences. Every choice leaves traces. And while she believed she was stepping into a carefree trip, I knew that the story didn't end there. The world had a way of revealing its layers, of forcing hidden truths to the surface, and I had no intention of being blindsided by it. As the taxi disappeared down the street, I finally exhaled, a long, deliberate breath that carried with it the weight of decision. I would not follow. I would not intervene. I would wait, and I would watch. The truth always finds its way out, and when it did, there would be no denying what was real, and what was only illusion. 2 days into her trip, I started receiving the subtle hints I had anticipated. A photo here, a check-in there, all carefully curated to appear casual, innocent, harmless. But to me, every detail spoke volumes. The way he appeared in the background of a selfie, the lingering familiarity in her captions, the slight change in her tone during our brief texts. It all added up. She believed she was in control, that I was unaware, that I had surrendered to distance. But control had never truly left my hands. I had spent years learning to read people, to notice the cracks in the facade, to understand what was left unsaid. And Lauren, in her careless excitement, had left a trail, a subtle, unintentional breadcrumb path that led straight to the truth. By the time she returned, I knew more than she could imagine. I knew the laughter that wasn't meant for me, the late-night conversations she thought were private, the glimpses of intimacy hidden behind the veneer of friendship. When she stepped off the plane, confident, smiling, expecting the usual greeting, she found me waiting, not with anger, not with confrontation, but with calm clarity. The sight of me standing there, composed, unshaken, made her hesitate. The casual confidence she carried for the past 5 days faltered. There was a flicker in her eyes, the briefest shadow of apprehension, as if she suddenly realized that her carefully crafted world had not been as private as she believed. I didn't need to speak. My presence, steady and unyielding, spoke louder than any accusation. She tried to cover her discomfort with a small smile, a nervous attempt at casual conversation. But I had already seen it all. And in that moment, she understood that the walls she had erected, the boundaries she had set, and the game she had played were transparent. She realized that betrayal, however carefully hidden, always leaves traces, and that some truths, once observed, cannot be unseen or ignored. I walked past her, calm and deliberate, leaving her standing in the airport lobby, forced to confront her own choices. The trip, the lies, the ex. It had all led to this moment of quiet reckoning. And as I stepped outside into the fading sunlight, I felt a strange clarity, a final release. I had not begged. I had not followed. I had not reacted with fury or despair. I had simply waited, observed, and let the truth unfold. And sometimes, letting the world reveal itself is the most powerful action of all.